What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto awakens Mokuton in the Forest of Death? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. It was the edge of training area 44, a place filled with wildlife. A gentle breeze rustled the trees. But in midst of all this calm, peaceful and ordinary nature. Boom, crack, a lightning strike cleared a part of the forest, and in its midst stood a lone figure. It was a cloaked, hooded, thin figure standing at a height of at least 5 feet and 7 inches. Gah, and I was having so much fun. Just when I started enjoying living with that juvenile genius and his schemes you took me away. You know what, you are a fucking asshole Omega, said the figure in a gruff voice. Be careful, amen, no foul language from you. You know you are under probation and an urgent matter here requires your attention, said a voice out of thin air. Yay, whatever, just shut up, I'm sick of hearing your droning voice. Do me a favor, give me my instructions and get out of here, said the person now identified as Amen. Then he looked around. Wait a minute, this is Konoha, isn't it? Oh yes, sighs, finally. Please just tell me I'm going to be here for at least a few years. Where is Naruto? What age is he? And why am I here now? Not that I'm complaining, of course. Well, to answer your requests and questions in order. First of all, I think you know your instructions for Konoha, but I will repeat it as it is my duty. Your instructions are to guide Naruto Uzumaki. Do not, under any circumstances, protect him from domestic dangers. You are allowed to teach him what is necessary and tell him what he is required to know. You may in your stay here learn what you can of the art of ninjutsu, told the voice, and regarding your period of stay. I am not at all happy with this, it is for at least 5 years. Woohoo! Exclaimed Amen, jumping and rejoicing like the familiar blonde. You know, said the voice irritably, for a person who is supposed to be 40 years old you are still a child, both mentally and physically. Well, screw you. The physical part is because of your damn dimension travel rules. Amen, you know that rule is of the blah blah blah, it is a major rule of the uttermost importance. A crucial part, stop bullshitting and answer my questions. As I was saying, said the voice in an angry tone, it is important and you shall abide by it. As for your questions, currently Naruto is at the academy, he is 12 years old, same as your physical self, and the reason that you were summoned here in such haste is that Naruto has activated his inheritance, the Mokuton. Wow, that's something. Yes it is, and he will need your guidance to reach his full potential. I accept my assignment. One more question, what is my new codename? Amen asked, curious. Your name will be Smith, Simon Obadiah Smith. And with that somehow Amen felt the presence of the voice leave him. Gah, new name SOS. Now let me begin. With this he threw off his cloak, letting sunlight fall on his black hair. He wore a red shirt and black pants. Suddenly, seemingly out of nowhere, a white suit materialized on him, covering him from neck to toe. There was large A etched in blue on his chest and back. Let the fun begin. Academy classroom. Iruka and Naruto are alone in the classroom. Hey Naruto, now that you are a ninja of our village you have a great responsibility. What responsibility? Naruto asked. To protect your comrades, continued Iruka. Every ninja in our village will lay down their lives to protect the people in the village. It is our duty to protect the weak, those in need and the helpless. Why should I do that? Everyone hates me. Whatever I do that won't change. Now knowing the reason I can understand their hate, and that doesn't change a thing from their side, grumbled Naruto. That is not true Naruto. Let me tell you one thing, even though not as much as you. Once upon a time the villagers hurt me too. Really Iruka-sensei, you, why should they hurt you? Naruto stared at Iruka weirdly. Well, I am also an orphan like you. But tell me one thing, do they hurt me now? Of course they don't. Naruto deadpanned. That's the thing. Once you start to care about them and help them they have no choice but to do the same. Alright, I will do what you say and become the Hokage in no time. Naruto jumped up and pointed his finger at Iruka while saying so. And Naruto, said Iruka, whatever others say, to me you are a good student and I see you as my little brother. Thank you Iruka-sensei. Naruto hugged him tearfully. Well, I will treat you to some ramen as a reward for graduating. Iruka said with a small smile on his face as he watched Naruto speed away to the ramen stand. Later, with Naruto outside Ichiraku's. Hey kid, you Naruto? said a black-haired guy looking at Naruto. Hey, who are you calling kid, aren't you one yourself? Naruto grumbled at the boy. Sorry, my mistake, mentally cursing the guy replied. My name is Simon Obadiah Smith. Now are you Naruto? What if I am? Naruto said. Then I am lucky and knock knock. With that the stranger appeared near a confused Naruto in a flash and knocked him out. Sorry Naruto, thought Smith. This place is too crowded for my tastes and I don't want to blow my cover. Meanwhile in a megacure, a spiraling vortex reveals a masked man with spiky black hair. Standing on top of a water tank he chuckles. So, you are a man of your word, Samiel? Another man also materializes out of nowhere. Oh yes. To accomplish one's goals one should be punctual, said Samiel. The new man also wore a cloak with a large S etched on the back. Care to remind me how good your offer sounds to my ears? This guy is so theatrical, sighs Samiel. Sooner or later somebody is going to realize that he is not the real Madara. But I should be careful with this guy, he can sense my dimension. Good thing he does not have large amounts of chakra or he could have followed me to the place I come from. Yes, the offer. I will support you in your venture to collect all the tailed beasts in whichever way I can. In return I expect you to make sure that Naruto Uzumaki is killed. Yes, I can assure you that the extraction of the Biju always kills the host. Care to tell me why you want him dead so much? This guy sure is nosy. I guess telling a part of the truth doesn't hurt, concludes Samiel. He has awakened the Mokuton, and has the potential to hinder your plans as well as mine. Okay. I'm convinced, Toby said in a serious tone. First help me to convince Nagato to join our cause. That can be easily arranged, said Samiel smirking evilly. And with that both of them disappeared the same way as they came. In a desert far away from Konoha, nighttime. I think I hit him a bit too hard, thought Simon looking at the sleeping form of Naruto. He has been sleeping all day long, enough of this, it's time to wake him up. With that he walked up to him. They were now staying in a cave Simon found in the desert. Oi, Naruto, time to wake up, he said shaking Naruto. Ramen, Sakura-chan, ramen, Sakura, mumbled Naruto in his sleep. That is the first thing he has to stop, his obsession over Sakura and ramen, Simon thought. Hey. Wake up Naruto, we don't have much time, wake up. At that he sent a pulse of his power through Naruto which jolted him awake. Ouch, who are you? Why are you glowing? What are you doing? Where am I? Naruto spewed out all the thoughts running through his head. I'll answer all your questions, Simon said holding up a glowing finger. But first, we need some time. With that he touched Naruto's forehead and both of them fell down unconscious. Inside Simon's mind, both of them were laying down as in the real world in Simon's mind. All around them was an endless white background. Hey, where am I? Naruto exclaimed. What do you want? Nothing you do makes sense. Yeah, and you are 206th on the I don't know what amen does list, thought Simon with a sad face. Now that we are here we have all the time and I will answer your questions in the reverse order. First of all I want to help you. On to the second question, you are at a place called a mindscape. You as a Jinchuriki will learn how to access it later on. This one's mine, said Simon and continued. But my one is special. I upgraded my mindscape and made it up to a level where 3 days here is equivalent to 3 seconds in real time. Tell me, isn't that cool? Huh? Oh glow rod, you know what, you are crazy. Screamed Naruto trying to free himself from the strange boy's grip. Sorry, I got a bit excited, Simon said while releasing Naruto from his grip. A bit excited? Yeah right. Now tell why in the name of Sandame's big nose am I here? Sandame has a big nose? I didn't know that. Oh yeah, his nose is as big as a cow. I think it's even larger than Iruka-sen's. Hey wait a minute, don't distract me, tell me why am I here? Oh right, back to my explanation. Let me see. Next one. Well you have to reword it as where was I? The answer to that is a desert cave in Suna. What tea? How did I reach here? Naruto stared confused at Simon. What can I say? I'm awesome, said Simon with a nice guy pose. Naruto sighs. Why'd I get feeling that I am going to see more of that other than from him? Somewhere in Konoha, 2 people sneezed twice. Mike Guy said, wow, another candidate for my youthfulness. Let his fires of youth burn brightly. And he started running around like a madman. Okay, that is for another time. To continue my answers, the answer to the question before that is now meaningless. Naruto frowned in exasperation. Am I ever going to get a proper explanation from this guy? To the question before that, however, I will give all the answers you need. Then the whiteness around them rose into high and big rectangular boxes made from earth. They were standing on something that looked like a black river. All around were weird things, people wearing strange clothes, many moving boxes. Bong, bong, ah, Naruto jumped out of the way of a very big box. There was only one thing familiar, a big sun in the sky. Wow, said Naruto in awe, where am I? Meanwhile in a megacure, Samiel is with Nagato, who was sitting on the floor crying. It is all my fault. I killed Yahiko. Nagato was shaking uncontrollably. I will kill that Hanzo. I will avenge Yahiko. Ha ha ha. He laughed like a maniac, madness creeping into eyes with every passing moment. You fool. There is no way you can defeat Hanzo, let alone kill, not with your level of power. What? Snapped Nagato, what are you saying? Are you saying I should let him go for what he did? If so, you and I are enemies from now on. Nagato raised his killing intent. Samiel shrugged it off as it were a fly, then emitted his own power. The power of something so rotten and unclean. It was so powerful that Nagato started hyperventilating. Perhaps I should tone it down a bit in this dimension, people here are so fragile. Samiel sighs. Why was I interested in this dimension in the first place? Then he remembered Naruto, oh yes, him. I am so wanting to kill him right now. But rules are rules, I should wait for at least 3 years. Oi Nagato, wake up, and Samiel kicked him. Nagato woke up with a start. What I am saying is that Hanzo had defeated your sensei, and his more powerful friend single-handedly, so yes, you stand no chance, Samiel continued. My advice to you is that you train and think about my offer and, about Yahiko's dream. Nagato looked up surprised and said, what do you know about his dream? Enough about the dream. Even though his dream is good one, his method of making it a reality was naive. So hear me out, true peace can be achieved through understanding others, yes, but for that the one thing you should understand the most is pain. Pain? Yes, pain. Pain is what fuels, what drives, and forces you to realize the truth. Quote, what truth? The truth that peace cannot be achieved in reality. Samiel was having fun spouting bullshit to the kid. Huh? Nagato looked at Samiel like a kid wanting a candy. Yes, but if you truly want to achieve peace, Samiel said with a thinking pose. Tell me about it. Nagato yearned to hear his answer. Make yourself a god. With those eyes, it is possible. With that power, make everyone accept peace. A god? Nagato asked himself, yes, I will become god. I will bring peace through pain. His eyes flashed in determination. In Simon's mind, this is a stimulation of the place I come from, said Simon. There are many nations in our place, or differently, continents. Their names are Asia, Africa. And that is the world which I come from, ended Simon. Okay, said Naruto, but that does not explain why you are glowing. True, thought Simon, yes, it is a long story, and I am not at the liberty to say everything, and hence sit down and hear me out. They sat down. Then Simon held out his arm, focus evident in his face. A cabinet materialized in front of them. Naruto, now imagine that everything that exists is that cabinet. Each drawer represents each dimension I told you about. Dimension? Simon sighs, okay, I will short it down to 2. Imagine the top drawer is your world Naruto, Konoha, Fire Country, your moon, your version of the universe. That on top is my home Datbao, nodded Naruto eagerly, like a child listening to a story. This one here, Simon pointed to the drawer just below that, is my world. As I told you before, people of my world cannot use chakra, rather than jutsu they use machines to do their work. What are machines? Questioned Naruto, stupefied. This is not getting any better, Simon grumbled in his head, just think of them as things made of metal. Our worlds are very different and apart that one cannot travel from one to another directly. Now imagine the place we are standing as a place where nothing exists, no air, no water, no land, no gravity, nothing at all, continued Simon, only chakra, or energy, and matter without life can go there. But some people can also do that provided they can change their bodies into energy. I am one of the few people who do that. This power is part of reason I am glowing. Unfortunately, I am not the only one who can do that, said Simon, growing serious. I have an adversary, a person like me with opposite goals, therefore his current aim is to kill you. Oh, said Naruto dejected, well, you see, I have. Yes, I know what you want to say, but no, it is not in the way you think, said Simon carefully. If I don't manage this correctly it will worsen the situation. You know? Naruto asked surprised. Yes, I know, Simon replied gravely, and he wants to prevent you from doing good. What, me? Doing good? How can I do good if everyone hates me? We are going to change that. From today we will be training, that is if you accept my offer and some conditions. You? Train me? You are the same age as I am, stated Naruto. Omega, you piece of trash. Be prepared for the house of pain, you bastard. Shouted Simon to the air, his ki increasing. This guy is seriously nuts, thought Naruto, even I am not this crazy. Some unknown location. Why do I get the feeling that I should avoid seeing Amen the next time? He comes here? Said Omega to herself, nah. It might be something else. Sorry about the outburst, apologized Simon. I will teach strategies, the art of kung fu, and how to develop your Mokuton ability. But you have to meet with me one day per week and teach me how to access chakra and do the jutsus. What is Mokuton? Asked Naruto. This is going to take a long time, sighed Simon. Why don't we take a break? We will see a movie called Kung Fu Panda. Meanwhile in Konoha, the Uchiha compound. So long brother, said Itachi leaving Sasuke unconscious on the floor. He quickly left the house as he sensed multiple chakra signatures approaching. Guess Itachi is not that much of genius after all. He didn't even notice that my energy is not chakra, thought Samiel dispelling his shadow clones outside the house, but then again he wouldn't have stood me, a fallen angel. He entered the house by knocking down the door. Then he sensed someone. Come out Toby, I know you are here, said Samiel. I guess I got caught, said Toby materializing through a vortex. He wiped off some blood on his mask. It is a bit embarrassing to say it out loud, but you know what, my clan members are very pathetic. I could have finished them off on my own even without the help of Itachi. Yes, I know you are skilled, but Sasuke is important to our plans, and Itachi had to be the trigger to his turning over to the dark side. Now after turning Sasuke, we can get Itachi killed and add another member to our cause, finished Samiel with an evil smile. With this he took up Sasuke and hefted him upon his shoulder. A split second later 5 ninjas burst into the house from a wall. Whomever you are, put down the Uchiha and surrender or we will use force, commanded a Jonin in the center. Scum, they don't deserve to get my hands dirty. With this thought the corrupt angel is lifted up his arms and immediately water burst out from the ninjas in front of them. If someone looked closer they would have immediately seen that their bodies looked like that of mummies, all dried and parched. Toby burned them with a fire jutsu. Nothing of the water should be left, and Samiel disappeared as with the wind. Toby nodded dumbly. This man is much powerful than he lets on. It do me good to keep me on his good books. Toby did some hand seals and shouted, Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu, fire release, great fireball technique. With that there was practically nothing left of the ninja, even for Kakashi, who came later, to identity. I should make some contingency plans in case he tries to betray me, thought Toby with a calculating look. At the same time in Omega Cure. Master, everything is happening exactly as you predicted, thought Samiel smiling as he laid down Sasuke on a bed. Soon every pawn will be in its place and there will be nothing our enemies could do to change the future. So how was the movie? That was awesome. Are you going to show me how to do that squidoosh? Said Naruto referring to the whooshi fingerhold used by Po. Well, that part of the movie was exaggerated. I don't think that is possible with kung fu alone. But I assure you that everything other move in the movie is real. The important thing is about the main principle of kung fu, that is, defense and how to use your opponent's power against him. All the taijutsu people in your world use focus mainly on offense, but without defense there is no kung fu. Moreover, while engaged in a taijutsu battle with your enemy, you can conserve your strength, at the same time deal him damage. That is what I am going to teach you in the future, said Simon. But the more important thing I want to say to you is about your Mokuton. The first thing you should know about Mokuton is that how it is different from other nature types. Naruto nodded smiling, having got a lecture previously from Simon all about the nature transformations. Even though he kidnapped me, thought Naruto, I think he means well. I don't know why I think so. Maybe it's because he doesn't look at me with those eyes, who knows. Naruto briefly grimaced thinking about how the villagers looked at him, then, hey. But now there are people who accept me as I am. That is good, and his smile returned. Mokuton is the only element that has life, so is every life, it is wild. It is affected by your emotions mainly by determination, which you happen to have in tons, said Simon smiling. But, it deterred by conflicting emotions, like guilt. So that is what we are going to work on in here. How, exactly are we going to do that? Asked Naruto, tensed. Ah, that's easy. We will go into your mind. With that Simon started walking. Naruto, while walking concentrate and tell me what thing in this place feels out of its place. Okay, said Naruto intrigued and followed Simon. Hey, I've got an idea. Shall I make some shadow clones to do that? I will ask them to call out when they see that. That way it's easy datbayo. Oh, Simon raised an eyebrow, do that. And here I thought he was dumb. Yo, now here comes the Naruto's personal search squad, said Naruto grinning making a clone seal. Tajuu Kage Bushin no Jutsu. About 2,000 clones poofed into existence. Guys, let's do this, said Naruto punching a fist into the air. The clones nodded with determination evident in their face. Yep, tons of determination, literally. At the same time in Konoha, the Hokage's office. What? You have not yet found out where Naruto is? Shouted Sarutobi in anger. What are you people? Are you even shinobi? Not even able to protect a child I assigned you with, shame on you. And you are supposed to be Anbu, the best. 10 Anbu in front of him hung their heads in shame. The old Hokage truly had a way making people realize their mistakes. Go now, and remember, if something happens to Naruto you all will have to pay for it. I promise, said the third Hokage with venom in his voice, his Ki making the Anbu pray that Naruto is safe lest they have to suffer the Kami no Shinobi's wrath. The Anbu left with a slight nod of their heads. Kakashi come out, called out Hiruzen. A lazy-looking, one-eyed man came out of the shadows. Kakashi, I am giving you a S-rank mission. Find Naruto and bring him to me alive and well, if you can't, don't come back. Huh? Said Kakashi stunned and out of stupor. What kind of mission is that? Hiruzen gave him a piercing look. This is a mission directly given by your Hokage, and you are supposed to accomplish it no matter what. Is that understood? Said Hiruzen shouting and stressing the last 3 words. Kakashi gulped. Why yes Hokage-sama. I accept the mission, and will find and bring Naruto alive. Then we understand each other. And Kakashi left with a shunshin. This is turning out to be an even worse mess than I thought, said Sarutobi, with Sasuke's body and Naruto missing. The council's going to have my head for this. Then a note slipped into the office from under the door. The third Hokage hastily picked it up. It read. If you want to save Sasuke, go to the top of the Hokage monument. Alone. His eyes bulged. He broke open the door and shouted, Anbu, don't let anyone leave the building, apprehend anyone suspicious. Do not follow me, I have an Uchiha to save. With that he took off his cloak and he too shunshined away. On top of the Hokage monument. So you came as I told you, said Samiel to Hiruzen. Who are you? Where is Sasuke Uchiha? Well, just let's say that I have an interest in him as you have an interest in Naruto. What do you want with him? Said Sarutobi, narrowing his eyes. I just wanted to talk to him, that's all, said Samiel in a carefree tone, and he is not here, he is at the Forest of Death, alive and well. Then why did you call me here? Questioned Hiruzen. To tell you that, when you return back you should tell everyone that you found Sasuke in Orochimaru's hidden laboratory, near the Nara clan's forest. Don't worry, I have arranged everything for you there. And why would I do that? Because, if you don't, the fact that Naruto has activated the Mokuton will reach some dangerous ears. Hiruzen thought for a moment. I can't engage him now, he appears confident, and I don't want to risk Sasuke's life. Then he nodded and said, continue. I am actually do you a favor, said Samiel cheerfully. Orochimaru really wants the Sharingan and Sasuke as one of his potential targets. Also this way you can keep Sasuke's kidnap a classified secret. Besides, it's more convincing than the alternative. This guy. Still there is the fact that you received the note. It will do you well to change a bit of the wording. And please tell the council that you got the information from an unexpected source which turned out to be friendly. I will leave that part to you. This guy is dangerous and cunning, thought Hiruzen. He even knows what Orochimaru would have done, if he had been the one who kidnapped Sasuke. And one more thing, don't even think of asking Sasuke what we talked about. I will know, I always know," and with the wave of a hand Samiel disappeared. After a few minutes later, in the Forest of Death. "So, Sasuke you as well I believe," said Sarutobi looking at a very healthy Sasuke sitting on a tree trunk by a lake. "Yes, Hokage-sama. In fact, I am feeling a lot better than I have felt my whole life," said Sasuke with creepy smile which sent shivers down Hiruzen's spine. "Very well then, let us return to the village," said Hiruzen holding out his hand. Sasuke took it and accompanied him to Konoha. "This is impossible," said Naruto frustrated while talking to a shadow clone. "I can't make sense with anything here." "Then how am I supposed to find something that feels different?" "Oh," exclaimed Simon quizzically, "is that you were trying to do? If not, then what should I do?" "Tell your clones to look for something familiar." "Oh," said Naruto, things finally making sense to him. Naruto gave some quick orders to his clone. Within 40 minutes a clone shouted out, "Hey boss! There is an Ichiraku's ramen stand here." "What? Where?" asked Naruto excited, running towards the clone's voice with Simon. They ran through the streets. Naruto occasionally jumped aside so that he won't hit other people. Though he knew these people were illusions, he was never a person to run through people, he preferred running with them. Even though nobody around him were real, except Simon of course, he felt strangely at peace, at least nobody ran away from him now. "I wonder what it is like to live a normal life," he thought, "to have a family, friends, even brothers." Then he thought about the faces engraved in stone in his village, the Hokages. He thought of his hero, the Yondaime Hokage, the man who gave up life to save his village. Nope, that is not a life for Naruto Uzumaki, to become like them. "I have to walk this path, because that is the path of a ninja." A smile lit up Naruto's face. That was what Iruka-sensei was trying to say to me. His smile grew even wider when he reached the familiar ramen stand. "Oi, Simon, how come Ichiraku ramen is in your head? You kidnapped them too, didn't you?" said Naruto angrily, raising up a fist at Simon intending to hit him. But even before he could actually process the thought, twat, with a blow to the back of his head Naruto was on the floor. "This guy is too much," Simon thought, still standing with his hand stretched out from hitting Naruto. "What the heck, man, why would you think that?" "Well," said Naruto grumbling, "you sorta kidnapped me from Ichiraku's point," agreed Simon mentally, "sorry about that. To come back to the point, actually the ramen stand is in your mind, not mine." "But aren't we in your mind?" "Sorta. But hey, you are also here, right? That stand is the entrance to your mind from mine." Naruto stood up, still grumbling something about "careless fool," and nodded. "Fine, let us go to Ichiraku's my mind." Both of them walked into the ramen booth. Ayame was at the counter. When she saw them come in, she got up and then smiled at Naruto. "Good, we are at the right place," thought Simon, smiling mentally. "Please lead us to the kitchen," said Simon to Ayame. He then looked Naruto in the eyes and said, "From here on, Naruto, everything is serious, put a hold on your foolishness and be serious." Ayame led them to a door and slowly opened it. "Your mind is not like mine, we might even meet the Kyuubi, so be careful." With that, both Simon and Naruto were pushed into the room by some invisible force and Naruto saw nothing but darkness. Inside Naruto's mindscape. "Yuck, my mind is even worse than a sewer," said Naruto after they reached a place filled with many pipes and smelled like sewage. "Well," chuckled Simon, "what can I say? It is your mind, idiot." Naruto frowned, "So what next?" "Next we meet the Kyuubi." "What? You never said that. Why do you want to meet him of all people?" shrieked Naruto terrified. Wow, calm down. Don't worry, he's tightly locked up in a cage. Besides, I just want to ask him some directions." "For what? You'll see," stated Simon. Slowly they followed the path taken by the pipes. After a few minutes they reached a place which had no ceiling, just a large gate with a strange paper stuck in middle with the kanji for seal written on it. An ominous roar captured their attention. Slowly the duo drew forward. Thump! 4 fingers with sharp claws each the size of a tree struck out from the bars. "Who awakes me from my slumber? Who are you?" "Me? I am your most humble," started Naruto, quite terrified. "Not you. I know you, brat. I am asking of the other one. The person with you who emits that power. Why are you here?" "Oh," said Simon softly, "you remember this power?" "No I don't, but one doesn't really forget that kind of power." Now answer my question or be gone. I have been sent by the one who made the pact with your father. Kyuubi reveals his face, his red eyes shot out, the ocular nerves bulging. What? Yes, he told me to tell you that the time has come. And that, the person your father foretold is the person holding you. The time has come, Kyuubi, the beginning of the end. Are you joking? Wait, you can't be serious. This brat is the one to unite us all in and that the war is going to start? Oh yes. And Naruto has to grow stronger before that happens, so tell me, where is the other him? Oh, so soon? He has no hope against him. The brat will die if he faces him, not that I care though, concluded Kyuubi with a light growl. There is no time. It is now or never. Very well, I shall tell you, but he goes alone. You stay here, you and I have a lot to talk about. Simon sighs, very well. Hey brat, touch one of my nails, then go towards your right. You will know when you reach him. Simon smiled at Naruto encouragingly. Go on Naruto, he won't hurt you, not now anyway. But the other one you are going to meet would not be so friendly. Naruto was now officially pissed. What are you guys even talking about? What is this talk about Kyuubi's father? Wait a minute. Naruto looked at Kyuubi clearly spooked. You have a father? Kyuubi looked at him serenely for a moment, then he sighed. Naruto, said Simon, didn't I ask you to be serious? Now do as I say. First touch Kyuubi's finger, then find the person Kyuubi's power directs you and defeat him. Defeat who? Do what I say and then you will understand. Naruto nodded and slowly edged closer to the mighty beast's gigantic claw. He touched it and felt something enter his body. Then he sensed something evil to his right. Evil? How did I know whatever it is evil? Never mind, I will whatever it is and do something about it. With that Naruto waved a hand at Simon and went wherever his senses led him. Kyuubi looked at Simon seeing that Naruto had left. Now start talking. First tell me your name and then all that I want to know. You are very direct. Very well, my name is Simon. Now about the rest. With Naruto. After 30 minutes Naruto finally reached the source of evil he sensed. What he saw there made him go pale. Hello, other me, said a Naruto with red eyes. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, the real one. And you are? He said extending a hand. With Naruto. And you are? Said the other Naruto, extending a hand. I am Naruto, said Naruto shakily taking the extended hand. Fool, thought the evil Naruto. He pulled the real Naruto and gave him a powerful kick to his stomach and whispered in his ear. Did you really think I will greet you happily? Naruto coughed up blood. That kick really hurt, huh? You really are stupid, said the evil Naruto laughing, pushing off the real one. No way we are going to be Hokage this way. Naruto held a hand to his stomach to numb the pain. He then looked up at his look-alike and then he saw how cruel his face looked. He saw both sorrow and anger etched all over his face. He saw the anger he had kept inside himself all time he was isolated and tortured by the people of Konoha. At last, the idiot sees the truth. Yes, I am you, the real you, the one you have been afraid to let out all time. I am your worst nightmare, said the evil Naruto, now smirking. I am the anger and hate you have repressed and kept all the years of your pathetic life, continued evil Naruto, now making the familiar clone seal, and now that you have come here willingly, I can obliterate you and take control of my life. Tajjuu Kage Bushin no Jutsu. After the smoke cleared, there stood 1,000 evil Narutos smirking at the real one. Well, shit, and Naruto shot off. Running won't do you any good, laughed an evil one. You asked for this? With this all the evil clones started to run after Naruto. Who is this guy? Thought Naruto as he did his best to run away from the incoming army. If what he said is true then I have to be very careful. I get chills just hearing this guy talk. I especially don't like the sound of the taking over part. Then Naruto suddenly skidded into a stop. Why am I running from him? If he is me, am I actually running from myself? Then he smiled. I am going to be the Hokage, Datbeo. I won't be running away from anyone now. Especially not from myself. He then turned around and showed his smile at the oncoming army. He then shouted, hey, my evil twin. Naruto Uzumaki, the future Hokage of the village hidden in the leaves, never runs away. Believe it. Quote, yo, that's me, you fool. You are never going to be the Hokage. I am, shouted an evil clone. We'll see about that, said Naruto, and he also made 1,000 clones. Guys, let's beat these people and show them who is the real boss, shouted both Naruto and evil Naruto to their clones, and both the armies clashed with each other. Both the armies were evenly matched. Some Narutos were fighting with kunai, while some others were throwing shuriken at each other. Some were even brawling, throwing each other on the ground, rolling over and getting wet from the swampy floor. The originals had 10 clones with each of them and were currently trying different tactics to overcome each other. You can never defeat me, my insolent self. You couldn't even stand up to a single person who hurt you, then how do you think you can defeat me? Oh yes, I did. I defeated Mizuki, said the real Naruto. Him, said he evil Naruto and started laughing with his clones. You think you defeated him? Oh man, you will believe everything others say. Did you really think you defeated Mizuki, a Chunin, just with shadow clones? It was just an accident. You accidentally activated your Mokuton and killed him. I killed him? Asked Naruto in shock, disbelieving. Yes you did. You killed a person. You are a monster. That is why no Bobby will accept us, said the evil Naruto, sadness evident on his face. Join with me, let me take control. After that I will make our dream of being the Hokage become reality. Everyone stopped fighting. The mindscape became very quiet. Naruto asked softly, what do you intend to do after taking control? What is your plan to become Hokage? I will show the people of our village that we are not to be messed with. People respect power, Naruto. I will obtain power and force them to respect us. With respect and power I will become Hokage. Should I believe him? Should I let him take control? Thought Naruto then, what about friends? What about the people who care about me? Who? Which person cares about you? Are you talking about Iruka and Sandaime or the Ichirakuses? You and I both know that they are just pretend. Naruto thought about what his evil self said. Even though what he said seemed to be true, he still felt uneasy. This is wrong. Even if he seems right, I can feel it in my bones that he is wrong. No, said Naruto, whatever happens I won't give you control. You won't give me control? You dare refuse me? Why? Said his evil twin, killing one of his own clones. Naruto looked at him directly in his eyes and said, because whatever I am not you. You said yourself that you are my anger and hate, but that is not the only thing that I am. I, Uzumaki Naruto, am more than that. I am a true ninja of the village hidden in the leaves. And don't worry, I will become Hokage, not just your way. Because, a Hokage is not just a position of power and respect. It is a ninja who is loved and adored by the people of his village. He is a person who is chosen by his people to protect them, said Naruto, now determined to prove evil self wrong. He stood up tall and pointed at his headband with his thumb. He smiled and said, I want to be that Hokage, not your bastardized version. So don't get your hopes high about taking control over my body, my evil smartass self, said Naruto, now getting ready to fight again. The evil ones were now seething in anger, because that is only going to happen over my dead body. When did you get so smart? Said the evil Naruto, so you won't give up Very well then, we will settle this the hard way. And then the cries of battle filled the air. Meanwhile with Simon. Well, Kyuubi, do you know the origin of Hagoromo's power? Asked Simon. Kyuubi gave a slight grunt. Yes. If you are talking about Senju and Kagaya, then yes, I know. Okay, then I will tell you something about the circumstances that led me here. First of all, you should know that God exists, whether you call him Kami or anything else. The fact remains that he exists, and most importantly that he is the only God. Kyuubi looked quizzically. Come again? Yes, you heard me correctly the first time. Now let me come to the point. He, a very very long time ago, created a world with life and the entire universe along with it. The world had all the usual stuff, plants, animals, seas and humans. But something happened that he did not expect, said Simon seriously. What he created started a chain of similar creations and finally resulted in thousands of alternate and parallel universes. The world and the universe he created is the world I come from, continued Simon. But each universe that was derived from it is similar to it in some way, but, at the same time, all are unique. For instance, almost every universe has a singular world with life and a yellow star as its source of light and energy, but at the same time people who can use chakra is limited to your world. This chakra or energy is the remnants of God's power, which is a constant in all the alternate and parallel universes. This power gets diluted as the number of people who can use it increases. As you have already guessed, this power, in your world manifests as chakra. Well, that explains the existence of the Jubi. Yes, it more than explains it. The Senju was all of the gods' power left in your universe, in the rawest of all forms, as a tree without any soul. Its very existence was to safeguard that power, and that is the reason of its change into the Jubi. Even now the Jubi's power recognizes its origin. That's why you knew where I was from. Kyubi was now standing on his hind legs. That still doesn't explain who visited my father when he was alive. Yes, about that. That was one of the angels, i.e., one of the servants of God. Angels are how God's power manifests in our world. In our world, since nobody has any special power, a person is selected once in a century to bear that power. These people are called angels. I am the current one. And since we are people God intended to create, after our service life we can return to our home, in heaven. After that a new angel is appointed, but sometimes even after living a full century some angels refuse to return. They join the ones who have already gone renegade. These angels who have left their home are called the fallen. The angel who visited your father, continued Simon, was the angel of that century in our world. He was called Raphael. He came here to meet your father, the first person in your world who actually used the power given to him for good. He came here so that your father could make arrangements so that he could prepare everyone for the end. When exactly is it? I don't know. Nobody knows except God. But what I do know is that it wouldn't matter much if the fallen angel who has come to this dimension succeeds in killing Naruto. Kyubi roars strangely, his tail thrashing against the floor. You seriously think that that brat can help us? That he just take away all the hate in us the tailed beasts? Oh yes he will. But first you will have to help him. Me? Help him? Dream on, fool. I've got better ways to spend my time in my imprisonment. Kyubi now roared menacingly, the metal bars of his cage shaking. Did you really think that if you came one day and said this I would forgive them for my treatment? I am the Kyubi, the mightiest of the tailed beasts, and I will have my vengeance, he finished with an almighty roar. A bright aura surrounded Simon, his suit glowed and the A on his front grew more pronounced. A small spark of blue lighted upon his palm. Very quickly it built up into a flame and covered his entire arm. Clear bright blue flames lit up the whole cage in its brilliance. Do not mess with me, shouted Simon, his face flushed in anger. Kyubi was just realizing that all his tails were on fire. Arg, are you really that dumb? Can't you realize that he is special? Just look at how many shadow clones he can produce. Eva Cage can only produce as much as 200 without dying. This guy can produce a freaking 1,000. He howled, his face contorted in pain, his pupils dilated in anger. You dare? You dare challenge me? No, I do not, said Simon, realizing his sudden burst of anger. I was making a point. Do not ever mess with me. You will regret it. I will tell you this: all angels are granted absolute control over an element of their choosing. He now looked at Kyubi in a threatening way. Mine is fire. Let me tell you this. One more of that sort of behavior from you and I will burn you for a full week. Are we clear? He then flamed up his arms once more and extinguished them to emphasize his point. Yo, started Kyubi, then he thought about the threat. I'd rather not get burned for a whole week. Yes, we are. Very well then, shall I tell you the stories about my adventures to other dimensions? Said Simon cheerfully, as though nothing had happened. Yes, tell me, said Kyubi, this guy sure is crazy, much more than that brat. Meanwhile, Naruto just poofed off an evil clone. Why'd I get the feeling I should give Kyubi a thumbs up next time I see him? Then he thought of the Kyubi, its terrible eyes looking at him. I sure am crazy if I am thinking like that. Meanwhile in Konoha, Shikaku, tell me, what did you find in Orochimaru's hideout? Asked Hiruzen to Shikaku Nara, who currently was leaning against a chair almost at the verge of sleeping. Huh? Why should the best ones be always so lazy? Sighed Hiruzen mentally and looked pointedly at Shikaku. What? Exclaimed the Nara. You called me up during my evening nap, what did you expect? Tell me something, how many of those naps do you have every day? About 7, maybe more. Why do you ask? Nothing, just curious, said Hiruzen while he thought, as expected. About the report? Yes, about that. I found remains of some sound ninja along with many experimental equipments, which includes a very delicate eye transplant equipment. By the way, Hokage-sama, you did a neat job with the sound Jonin there. Glad to see that you are still in your prime. What are you talking about? Shikaku looked puzzled. Well, one of the Jonin I found died from high-degree fire burns, similar to the burns associated with fire release. Fire Dragon Bullet, your signature move. Aren't you the one who killed them? That guy even fooled Shikaku, one of the best minds in the village, thought Hiruzen, cursing mentally. He raised up his right hand signally the Anbu in the room to leave. After they left he activated a silencing seal on his desk. Shikaku, what I am about to tell you right now should not reach the ears of a third person. Hi, Hokage-sama, I did not kill any of the ninja whom you found in the laboratory. Shikaku was now looking very puzzled. Then who killed those men? If not you, then who saved Sasuke? I wish I knew. I am just as puzzled as you are. As about who saved Sasuke, I do not think he required saving in the first place. I found him in the forest of death healthy and happy, just like he said I would find him. Who said what? And why the hell Sasuke be happy? Hiruzen said dejectedly, no clue. But keep a close watch on Sasuke, I have got a bad feeling about this. I will fill you on later after I confirm my suspicions. Hi Hokage-sama, and what about Naruto? If possible. Hiruzen's face grew more sadder. He slowly got up, walked up to the window and looked out without replying. Shikaku clearly understood what he meant and left the room without another word. At the same time, the Uchiha compound. Sasuke shouted, Kaden! Gokakyu no Jutsu! Tobi dodged effortlessly from the path of the fireball. Sasuke followed up 10 shurikens, which would have reached Tobi if he had not blocked them with his gunbai. Sasuke smirked. You are not bad. I guess that is because you are an Uchiha, huh? Tobi also smiled under his mask. This is perfect. If it goes on like this he will soon be able to beat Itachi and I would have powerful ally. Meanwhile Sasuke was also reminiscing about his meeting with Samiel. Flashback. Samiel to a lying down Sasuke. What is your opinion about your brother? Sasuke sat up. He was hurting all over, both physically and mentally. Tears flowed down his eyes. He remembered the terrible images of his father and mother getting killed. And the truth hit him, the truth that his brother killed his family, his whole clan, and left him all alone. My brother? Why did he do this? Why did he kill them all? Samiel laughed, a cruel, vicious laugh. A laugh which told Sasuke that he's not going to like the answers to his questions. Just what he told you. To test his power. But now tell me, what do you intend to do now? I had to kill him, said Sasuke. Drying up his tears, I had to avenge my clan. That is the least I could do for my dead clansmen. What if I help you do that? Sasuke glared at Samiel. The latter still had a smile on his face. No. I will kill him. I alone kill him. Okay then, I will give you the power to kill him. The power worthy of the Uchiha. The power that is rightfully yours. What power? Asked Sasuke curiously. That I will tell you later. But the question is, would you accept my offer? Sasuke was now thoughtful. Why is he offering me help? Who is this guy and what does he want from me? Why are you helping me? What are your intentions? This boy is intelligent, thought Samiel. Unlike Nagato, I have to be careful with him. I will tell you the truth, said Samiel in a business tone. I give you something. You give me something in return. I will even offer you to bring your parents back to life. Sasuke looked shocked. You can do that? He asked incredulously. I cannot, but one of my friends can. But he will only do if you do something for us. Okay, I accept your offer, said Sasuke. Anything for bringing back my parents. Boy, you made the deal with the devil, thought Samiel, mentally rejoicing. You are in so much trouble. Very well then. First meet Tobi, your new sensei. He will be training you from now on. And if it helps you, he is also an Uchiha. At that moment a vortex appeared in the air. When it cleared, Tobi was revealed with his Sharingan. Seeing that, Sasuke smiled and left some of the pain in him leave. Flashback end. After that, Sasuke had been training day and night in a secure area of the Uchiha compound with Tobi. To his credit, after a week, he activated his Sharingan. Back with Naruto. After 2 hours of fighting there were no clones left. Both Narutos were lying on the wet floor of the mindscape, exhausted and completely beaten up. The evil one was now chuckling. I am actually surprised. You actually fought with me and brought the fight to a standstill. I underestimated you. There is more to you than what meets the eye. Evil Naruto was now looking at the real one. The latter was keeping his silence. That is why I am letting you leave today. Do not think for a moment that you have won. It is just that you cooled down some of my anger. He now extended a hand toward Naruto, who was looking at it hesitantly. The evil one smiled. Don't worry, I won't hurt you. I may be evil but I am honor-bound to my word. Naruto shook his evil twin's hand. I am acknowledging you as a worthy opponent, Naruto. We will fight again, but next time be prepared, because if you are not I will kill you, finished the evil Naruto with a threat. Well, said Naruto, unsure, I guess it is goodbye then? Yes it is. Now run off before I change my mind. From his tone Naruto guessed that he was not messing with him and fled the scene as if the devil himself was behind him, with Naruto. And you are? Said the other Naruto, extending a hand. I am Naruto, said Naruto shakily taking the extended hand. Fool, thought the evil Naruto. He pulled the real Naruto and gave him a powerful kick to his stomach and whispered in his ear. Did you really think I will greet you happily? Naruto coughed up blood. That kick really hurt, huh? You really are stupid, said the evil Naruto laughing, pushing off the real one. No way we are going to be Hokage this way. Naruto held a hand to his stomach to numb the pain. He then looked up at his look-alike and then he saw how cruel his face looked. He saw both sorrow and anger etched all over his face. He saw the anger he had kept inside himself all time he was isolated and tortured by the people of Konoha. At last, the idiot sees the truth. Yes, I am you, the real you, the one you have been afraid to let out all time. I am your worst nightmare, said the evil Naruto, now smirking. I am the anger and hate you have repressed and kept all the years of your pathetic life, continued evil Naruto, now making the familiar clone seal, and now that you have come here willingly, I can obliterate you and take control of my life. Tajjuu Kage Bushin no Jutsu. After the smoke cleared, there stood 1,000 evil Narutos smirking at the real one. Well, shit, and Naruto shot off. Running won't do you any good, laughed an evil one. You asked for this? With this all the evil clones started to run after Naruto. Who is this guy? Thought Naruto as he did his best to run away from the incoming army. If what he said is true then I have to be very careful. I get chills just hearing this guy talk. I especially don't like the sound of the taking over part. Then Naruto suddenly skidded into a stop. Why am I running from him? If he is me, am I actually running from myself? Then he smiled. I am going to be the Hokage, Datbeo. I won't be running away from anyone now. Especially not from myself. He then turned around and showed his smile at the oncoming army. He then shouted, hey, my evil twin. Naruto Uzumaki, the future Hokage of the village hidden in the leaves, never runs away. Believe it. Quote, yo, that's me, you fool. You are never going to be the Hokage. I am, shouted an evil clone. We'll see about that, said Naruto, and he also made 1,000 clones. Guys, let's beat these people and show them who is the real boss, shouted both Naruto and evil Naruto to their clones, and both the armies clashed with each other. Both the armies were evenly matched. Some Narutos were fighting with kunai, while some others were throwing shuriken at each other. Some were even brawling, throwing each other on the ground, rolling over and getting wet from the swampy floor. The originals had 10 clones with each of them and were currently trying different tactics to overcome each other. You can never defeat me, my insolent self. You couldn't even stand up to single person who hurt you, then how do you think you can defeat me? Oh yes I did. I defeated Mizuki, said the real Naruto. Him? Said he evil Naruto and started laughing with his clones. You think you defeated him? Oh man, you will believe everything others say. Did you really think you defeated Mizuki, a Chunin, just with shadow clones? It was just an accident. You accidentally activated your Mokuton and killed him. I killed him? Asked Naruto in shock, disbelieving. Yes you did. You killed a person. You are a monster. That is why no Bobby will accept us, said the evil Naruto, sadness evident on his face. Join with me, let me take control. After that I will make our dream of being the Hokage become reality. Everyone stopped fighting. The mindscape became very quiet. Naruto asked softly, what do you intend to do after taking control? What is your plan to become Hokage? I will show the people of our village that we are not to be messed with. People respect power, Naruto. I will obtain power and force them to respect us. With respect and power I will become Hokage. Should I believe him? Should I let him take control? Thought Naruto then, what about friends? What about the people who care about me? Who? Which person cares about you? Are you talking about Iruka and Sandaime or the Ichirakuses? You and I both know that they are just pretend. Naruto thought about what his evil self said. Even though what he said seemed to be true, he still felt uneasy. This is wrong. Even if he seems right, I can feel it in my bones that he is wrong. No, said Naruto, whatever happens I won't give you control. You won't give me control? You dare refuse me. Why? Said his evil twin, killing one of his own clones. Naruto looked at him directly in his eyes and said, because whatever I am not you. You said yourself that you are my anger and hate, but that is not the only thing that I am. I, Uzumaki Naruto, am more than that. I am a true ninja of the village hidden in the leaves. And don't worry, I will become Hokage, not just your way. Because, a Hokage is not just a position of power and respect. It is a ninja who is loved and adored by the people of his village. He is a person who is chosen by his people to protect them, said Naruto, now determined to prove evil self wrong. He stood up tall and pointed at his headband with his thumb. He smiled and said, I want to be that Hokage, not your bastardized version. So don't get your hopes high about taking control over my body, my evil smartass self, said Naruto, now getting ready to fight again. The evil ones were now seething in anger, because that is only going to happen over my dead body. When did you get so smart? Said the evil Naruto, so you won't give up Very well then, we will settle this the hard way. And then the cries of battle filled the air. Meanwhile with Simon. Well, Kyuubi, do you know the origin of Hagoromo's power? Asked Simon. Kyuubi gave a slight grunt, yes. If you are talking about Senju and Kagaya, then yes, I know. Okay, then I will tell you something about the circumstances that led me here. First of all, you should know that God exists, whether you call him Kami or anything else. The fact remains that he exists, and most importantly that he is the only God. Kyuubi looked quizzically, come again? Yes, you heard me correctly the first time. Now let me come to the point. He, a very very long time ago, created a world with life and the entire universe along with it. The world had all the usual stuff, plants, animals, seas and humans. But something happened that he did not expect, said Simon seriously. What he created started a chain of similar creations and finally resulted in thousands of alternate and parallel universes. The world and the universe he created is the world I come from, continued Simon. But each universe that was derived from it is similar to it in some way, but, at the same time, all are unique. For instance, almost every universe has a singular world with life and a yellow star as its source of light and energy, but at the same time people who can use chakra is limited to your world. This chakra or energy is the remnants of God's power, which is a constant in all the alternate and parallel universes. This power gets diluted as the number of people who can use it increases. As you have already guessed, this power, in your world manifests as chakra. Well, that explains the existence of the Jubi. Yes, it more than explains it. The Senju was all of the God's power left in your universe, in the rawest of all forms, as a tree without any soul. Its very existence was to safeguard that power, and that is the reason of its change into the Jubi. Even now the Jubi's power recognizes its origin. That's why you knew where I was from. Kyuubi was now standing on his hind legs. That still doesn't explain who visited my father when he was alive. Yes, about that. That was one of the angels, i.e., one of the servants of God. Angels are how God's power manifests in our world. In our world, since nobody has any special power, a person is selected once in a century to bear that power. These people are called angels. I am the current one. And since we are people God intended to create, after our service life we can return to our home, in heaven. After that a new angel is appointed, but sometimes even after living a full century some angels refuse to return. They join the ones who have already gone renegade. These angels who have left their home are called the fallen. The angel who visited your father, continued Simon, was the angel of that century in our world. He was called Raphael. He came here to meet your father, the first person in your world who actually used the power given to him for good. He came here so that your father could make arrangements so that he could prepare everyone for the end. When exactly is it? I don't know. Nobody knows except God. But what I do know is that it wouldn't matter much if the fallen angel who has come to this dimension succeeds in killing Naruto. Kyuubi roars strangely, his tail thrashing against the floor. You seriously think that that brat can help us? That he just take away all the hate in us the tailed beasts? Oh yes he will. But first you will have to help him. Me? Help him? Dream on, fool. I've got better ways to spend my time in my imprisonment. Kyuubi now roared menacingly, the metal bars of his cage shaking. Did you really think that if you came one day and said this I would forgive them for my treatment? I am the Kyuubi, the mightiest of the tailed beasts, and I will have my vengeance, he finished with an almighty roar. A bright aura surrounded Simon, his suit glowed and the A on his front grew more pronounced. A small spark of blue lighted upon his palm. Very quickly it built up into a flame and covered his entire arm. Clear bright blue flames lit up the whole cage in its brilliance. Do not mess with me, shouted Simon, his face flushed in anger. Kyuubi was just realizing that all his tails were on fire. Arg, are you really that dumb? Can't you realize that he is special? Just look at how many shadow clones he can produce. Eva Cage can only produce as much as 200 without dying. This guy can produce a freaking 1,000. He howled, his face contorted in pain, his pupils dilated in anger. You dare? You dare challenge me? No, I do not, said Simon, realizing his sudden burst of anger. I was making a point. Do not ever mess with me. You will regret it. I will tell you this: all angels are granted absolute control over an element of their choosing. He now looked at Kyuubi in a threatening way. Mine is fire. Let me tell you this. One more of that sort of behavior from you and I will burn you for a full week. Are we clear? He then flamed up his arms once more and extinguished them to emphasize his point. Yo, started Kyuubi, then he thought about the threat. I'd rather not get burned for a whole week. Yes, we are. Very well then, shall I tell you the stories about my adventures to other dimensions? Said Simon cheerfully, as though nothing had happened. Yes, tell me, said Kyuubi. This guy sure is crazy, much more than that brat. Meanwhile, Naruto just poofed off an evil clone. Why'd I get the feeling I should give Kyuubi a thumbs up next time I see him? Then he thought of the Kyuubi, its terrible eyes looking at him. I sure am crazy if I am thinking like that. Meanwhile in Konoha, Shikaku, tell me, what did you find in Orochimaru's hideout? Asked Hiruzen to Shikaku Nara, who currently was leaning against a chair almost at the verge of sleeping. Huh? Why should the best ones be always so lazy? Sighed Hiruzen mentally and looked pointedly at Shikaku. What? Exclaimed the Nara. You called me up during my evening nap, what did you expect? Tell me something, how many of those naps do you have every day? About 7, maybe more. Why do you ask? Nothing, just curious, said Hiruzen while he thought, as expected. About the report? Yes, about that. I found remains of some sound ninja along with many experimental equipments, which includes a very delicate eye transplant equipment. By the way, Hokage-sama, you did a neat job with the sound Jonin there. Glad to see that you are still in your prime. What are you talking about? Shikaku looked puzzled. Well, one of the Jonin I found died from high-degree fire burns, similar to the burns associated with fire release. Fire Dragon Bullet, your signature move. Aren't you the one who killed them? That guy even fooled Shikaku, one of the best minds in the village, thought Hiruzen, cursing mentally. He raised up his right hand, signaling the Anbu in the room to leave. After they left, he activated a silencing seal on his desk. Shikaku, what I am about to tell you right now should not reach the ears of a third person. Hi, Hokage-sama, I did not kill any of the ninja whom you found in the laboratory. Shikaku was now looking very puzzled. Then who killed those men? If not you, then who saved Sasuke? I wish I knew. I am just as puzzled as you are. As about who saved Sasuke, I do not think he required saving in the first place. I found him in the forest of death healthy and happy, just like he said I would find him. Who said what? And why the hell Sasuke be happy? Hiruzen said dejectedly, no clue. But keep a close watch on Sasuke, I have got a bad feeling about this. I will fill you on later after I confirm my suspicions. Hi Hokage-sama, and what about Naruto? If possible, Hiruzen's face grew more sadder. He slowly got up, walked up to the window and looked out without replying. Shikaku clearly understood what he meant and left the room without another word. At the same time, the Uchiha compound. Sasuke shouted, Kaden! Gokakyu no Jutsu! Tobi dodged effortlessly from the path of the fireball. Sasuke followed up 10 shurikens, which would have reached Tobi if he had not blocked them with his gunbai. Sasuke smirked. You are not bad. I guess that is because you are an Uchiha, huh? Tobi also smiled under his mask. This is perfect. If it goes on like this, he will soon be able to beat Itachi and I would have powerful ally. Meanwhile, Sasuke was also reminiscing about his meeting with Samiel. Flashback. Samiel to a lying down Sasuke. What is your opinion about your brother? Sasuke sat up. He was hurting all over, both physically and mentally. Tears flowed down his eyes. He remembered the terrible images of his father and mother getting killed. And the truth hit him, the truth that his brother killed his family, his whole clan, and left him all alone. My brother? Why did he do this? Why did he kill them all? Samiel laughed, a cruel, vicious laugh. A laugh which told Sasuke that he's not going to like the answers to his questions. Just what he told you. To test his power. But now tell me, what do you intend to do now? I had to kill him, said Sasuke, drying up his tears. I had to avenge my clan. That is the least I could do for my dead clansmen. What if I help you do that? Sasuke glared at Samiel. The latter still had a smile on his face. No. I will kill him. I alone kill him. Okay then, I will give you the power to kill him. The power worthy of the Uchiha. The power that is rightfully yours. What power? Asked Sasuke curiously. That I will tell you later. But the question is, would you accept my offer? Sasuke was now thoughtful. Why is he offering me help? Who is this guy and what does he want from me? Why are you helping me? What are your intentions? This boy is intelligent, thought Samiel. Unlike Nagato, I have to be careful with him. I will tell you the truth, said Samiel in a business tone. I give you something. You give me something in return. I will even offer you to bring your parents back to life. Sasuke looked shocked. You can do that? He asked incredulously. I cannot, but one of my friends can. But he will only do if you do something for us. Okay, I accept your offer, said Sasuke. Anything for bringing back my parents. Boy, you made the deal with the devil, thought Samiel, mentally rejoicing. You are in so much trouble. Very well then. First meet Tobi, your new sensei. He will be training you from now on. And if it helps you, he is also an Uchiha. At that moment a vortex appeared in the air. When it cleared, Tobi was revealed with his Sharingan. Seeing that, Sasuke smiled and left some of the pain in him leave. Flashback end. After that, Sasuke had been training day and night in a secure area of the Uchiha compound with Tobi. To his credit, after a week, he activated his Sharingan. Back with Naruto. After 2 hours of fighting, there were no clones left. Both Narutos were lying on the wet floor of the mindscape, exhausted and completely beaten up. The evil one was now chuckling. I am actually surprised. You actually fought with me and brought the fight to a standstill. I underestimated you. There is more to you than what meets the eye. Evil Naruto was now looking at the real one. The latter was keeping his silence. That is why I am letting you leave today. Do not think for a moment that you have won. It is just that you cooled down some of my anger. He now extended a hand toward Naruto, who was looking at it hesitantly. The evil one smiled. Don't worry, I won't hurt you. I may be evil, but I am honor-bound to my word. Naruto shook his evil twin's hand. I am acknowledging you as a worthy opponent, Naruto. We will fight again, but next time be prepared, because if you are not, I will kill you, finished the evil Naruto with a threat. Well, said Naruto, unsure, I guess it is goodbye then? Yes it is. Now run off before I change my mind. From his tone, Naruto guessed that he was not messing with him and fled the scene as if the devil himself was behind him. Kyuubi was now lying down with one eye open. Simon was sitting near him in a cross-legged position, telling Kyuubi about his adventures. Kyuubi was actually enjoying his stories. He had previously thought that nothing could surprise him. He had lived so long that he thought nothing the humans could do could surprise him. But he realized how wrong he was. The stories this person told, now he doubted the existence of the person sitting next to him. Much to his frustration, he occasionally gave a snort or chuckle when something surprised him. Then he suddenly perked up one of his large ears. He snorted, "Looks like the brat made it," he said with an annoyed look. I actually expected him to die. I guess I was wrong. He nodded at Simon, acknowledging his assessment of Naruto. Then Naruto came into the light running with a goofy smile on his face. Simon got up, excited. Hey Naruto, did you defeat him? He ran up to him with a smile on his face. When he reached up to him, Naruto gave him a thumbs up and Simon laughed and bumped his fist with his. Naruto now looked at him a bit seriously. Well, I did not actually defeat him, but I got the next best thing. I got a draw, my evil twin even accepted me, dat bayo. Accepted? Well, ya know, something called acknowledgement. Is it acknowledgement? Yep, that's the word. Kyuubi, who was silently observing until now, raised an eyebrow. He did that. Naruto then noticed him. He was still fearful of him, but still he answered, yes, but he wants a rematch. Said that next time I would lose. Simon was now giving him a strange smile. Now, we can't have that, can we? Naruto, from now on we are actually start your training. We will be leaving your mind and will be returning to the real world in a few minutes, but before that Mr. Kyuubi here has something to give you. After a few seconds of silence, Kyuubi grunted and extended one of his tails towards Naruto. When the tail touched him, a red substance started to bubble from the point of contact. In a matter of seconds it spread throughout Naruto's body. Naruto was actually getting quite scared now. Whatever courage and energy he had only extended up to fighting against his evil self. If Kyuubi decided to kill him now, he could scarcely defend himself. He started shaking, but stopped when someone placed a hand on his shoulder. Don't worry, Naruto, said Simon comfortingly. Kyuubi has agreed to help you. He is giving you 2 tails worth of untainted power to use in time of great need. Don't worry, it is free from his hate and anger. Isn't it, Kyuubi? Simon looked Kyuubi in the eye, daring him to object. The large chakra beast just grunted again. When bubbling tails were finally visible behind Naruto, Kyuubi retracted his tail and said, as the human said. Kyuubi looked at Simon for a moment. You now have 2 tails worth of my power. If you do not finish it up all at once, it will charge up again in a day. You better save it, brat, because I am not going to give you any more, ever. With that he returned to the darkness of his cage, leaving the 2 boys behind. Simon said to Naruto, the next time you wake up you will be lying in the woods nearby the village. When you do so, go lay low for a while, then after a day, go meet the Hokage at the top of the Hokage monument at 4 a.m. He will relay to you the terms of our agreement. Then he tapped Naruto on his forehead and the blonde fell down unconscious. In the Hokage's office, Hiruzen was sitting idly in his chair, free from the evil called paperwork. Normally it would be a pleasant day for his. The sun was shining brightly in the sky and the sounds of children playing in the village could be heard from the windows of the office. But he did not hear the sound of the child he wanted. Naruto was still missing and that thought haunted him. I don't know what to do, thought Hiruzen, frustrated and worried. I don't know how to find him. I don't care even if he is found like Sasuke. I wish he was back. Just then a slip of paper slid past the office door. Hiruzen was stunned, his mouth was opening and closing, eating air. He got up as if in a trance, ran to the door and picked the paper. The words on the paper sent a chill up his spine. If you want to save Naruto, go to the top of the Hokage monument. Alone. Talk of the devil. If it is that guy again, I will kill him this time. I don't care how powerful he is, thought Sarutobi Hiruzen, half angry, half relieved. At least Naruto is alive. This time he did not waste time alerting the Anbu. He jumped out through the window, breaking it. In Kumo, the Raikage sneezed, sending a pile of paperwork flying around his office. WHO is copying me? I will apprehend the one responsible. He shouted. Darui, ask our spies in the other villages to find out which cage broke his window. I want your report by tomorrow, do you understand? Said the enraged aide to his left-hand man. Hi Raikage Sama, murmured the Gale-style user and thought, this is too troublesome. At that time a number of sneezes could be heard throughout Konoha. On top of the Hokage monument. Where are you? Come out. Don't mess with me, shouted the 3rd Hokage, brandishing his bow staff. He, sorry for messing with you, said a person clad in white, coming out from behind a tree. Who are you? Are you with the guy who took Sasuke? Said Hiruzen in threatening way. Hold on, calm down. Somebody kidnapped Sasuke? I guess I was right on time. What are you talking about? Thought Simon, my name is Simon. I kidnapped Naruto to keep him safe. Now why don't we go and talk somewhere more private before the Anbu gets here? Why should I trust you? Simple. Because Naruto trusts me, and rest assured he will come back to you alive and safe, on his own accord. The way these guys talk, thought Hiruzen, I bet they are blood-related. Then he nodded and left the place with Simon. The next morning, 4 a.m., on top of the Hokage monument. Hiruzen appeared on the top of his stone head carved on the mountain, dressed in his full battle armor. If what the stranger, Simon told him about Danzo's secret Anbu were true, then he should make sure that Naruto is found safely. By him, the Hokage, him alone. Sarutobi was not going to take any chances by informing his Anbu about Simon. You can never say who the black cat among his animal-masked bodyguards is. So he got ready for a full combat, getting his bow staff and informing Enma that he might need his assistance. After standing on the top of the stone face for a full minute, he started to get worried. What if that man who calls himself Simon was lying? I hope he's a good guy. I don't want another of those guys of that caliber on bad terms, thought Hiruzen when he remembered his encounter with the guy who kidnapped Sasuke. That guy still made him uneasy on nerves. Something about that guy told him that nothing good will come out of dealing with him. Then suddenly he sensed Naruto. "Naruto, come out. Only me, your Gigi is here," shouted Hiruzen. Immediately Naruto jumped off from the cliff onto the Yondaimi's head. From there he jumped to where Hiruzen was standing and happily gave him a hug. Sarutobi gave a surprised smile. "At least this is my old Naruto. Gigi, I have so much to tell you. That guy in white kidnapped me from Ichiraku's and took me to some desert in Suna. He told me many stuff," told Naruto, releasing Hiruzen and fidgeting excitedly. "He said that I have some super power. He seemed crazy at first, but now I think he is okay, kinda reminds me of myself." Then there was this movie. Hiruzen cut him off by holding a hand to his mouth. He looked at Naruto seriously. "Not here, Naruto. Why don't we go to your house? We will talk there, okay?" Naruto tried to speak, but then nodded with Hiruzen's hand still on his mouth. Realizing his mistake, Hiruzen removed his hand. "Sorry about that, I am a bit tense today. Now then, is it an okay?" Naruto nodded again, preferring not to talk, and he and Hiruzen went, jumping from roof to roof, without making a sound. Later, in Naruto's apartment. "So Naruto, he told about Mokuton, I suppose?" "Yes, he did. Not only that, my evil self said I killed Mizuki-sensei with it," said Naruto in sadness. He still couldn't believe that he would kill someone, even if by accident. "You have to understand, Naruto, first kill was not something I wanted you to experience in your age. It is mentally traumatizing, so much that some people still cannot get over the pain of taking another life. It is a good thing that you don't remember killing Mizuki." "That is not entirely true, Gigi. I do remember it now. All of it came back to me when my evil self told me about it," said Naruto softly. Hiruzen held his breath, sensing Naruto's sudden change in demeanor. "Naruto, are you outraged?" "I am fine, Gigi. I am fine because now I understand why you behave how you behave." Hiruzen was confused. Naruto nodded to his confused face. "I now understand why the Hokage doesn't look down on other people. You don't look down on others because you know that you have more blood on your hands than they could ever have in their lives. And the fact that you killed others to keep your villagers safe made all of it worth the pain and effort it had cost you." Hiruzen now understood why Simon kidnapped Naruto. He showed Naruto the way to make peace with his own pain. He gave Naruto something that nobody in the village could give him, self-confidence. Hiruzen smiled. "I am glad that Naruto will be in safe hands. Today Naruto told me something only a select few have ever realized. Minato, your son, has grown so much. So much that feel that I can hand him the hat now." "Very good, Naruto. You will become a very good Hokage in the future, my boy," said Sarutobi, ruffling Naruto's hair. Naruto also put on a big smile. "So now that we have sorted that out, I will tell you about the arrangement with Simon," said Hiruzen in his professor tone. "Simon will be joining our village as a ninja in a few days. I have taught him the henge and I believe he made some improvements to it so that he can transform into a ninja of Iruka's age. I am introducing him as a student of Jiraiya so that there won't be any problem to put you under his apprenticeship, but you are going to be placed in Team 7 inches. "What? You're putting me under that Wako? Don't worry, Naruto, he is a good person, besides you will be training with him on weekends. Anyway, I will give some scrolls on chakra, jutsu and element manipulation. Give it to him the next time you see him. By the way, your team sensei, Kakashi, has a test planned for you on the training grounds tomorrow. You will meet your teammates there." Yeah, grumbled Naruto and took the scrolls which his Gigi gave him. "Also take this money," said Hiruzen, handing him out some ryo and a slip of paper. "Go to the cloth shop near the Akamichi's restaurant and get some ninja clothes." When he saw Naruto grumbling about, "Orange is my favorite color," he chuckled and said, I know you like orange very much, so you can some orange in your clothes. But take care that there is only very little of it. One more thing before I go." At this he pulled out 2 sheathed short swords from his back. Both were identical, single-edged and progressively broader as it reached the tips. He handed them over to Naruto. "These are the swords that Simon requested. An unusual choice, usually nobody use short swords. And the ones I have heard are of uniform length. But I guess you might find some use for it," said Hiruzen looking at Naruto proudly. "I found them in the first Hokage's weapon collection after all." With that Hiruzen left with a shushin, leaving a stunned Naruto in his wake. "This swords belonged to the Shodem Hokage?" thought Naruto looking at the sheathed swords. Now he was pulling out one of its sheath. The metal gleamed in the sunlight that poured out of the window. "Looks powerful, maybe I should change my style of clothes as Gigi advised to suit these swords," thought Naruto. "Wait a minute, day after tomorrow is the weekend, right? I must get my new clothes today." Then he felt a small tug on his hand. He felt like pulling out the other sword. He slowly unsheathed the other one and threw down the sheaths. He felt like the swords connected with him, they felt like an extension of his arms. He wanted to test them out, so he sheathed them again and ran off to the training grounds. After some time in the training grounds, Tajuu Kage Bushin no Jutsu. 100 clones of Naruto appeared in the ground. Naruto was holding his swords in his hands, a determined look on his face. "Guys, I want to test out these swords, so come at me at full strength. Let us see who wins, 1 me or 100 me." So all the clones came at him all at once. They were made plans to defeat Naruto. They knew that fighting at close range would only get them killed. So they fought from a distance, throwing kunai and shuriken at him. But by some miracle Naruto was able to deflect most of them with his swords. "That's happened before. These swords feel as if they always were a part of me. I can use them like my arms to deflect things. This is awesome." Now excited Naruto threw himself at his clones. He fought with them like a maniac. He had no clear style, but he could handle the swords well enough. He fought like a brawler, killing his clones in the simplest ways. He sometimes cut them on their legs by ducking and cutting. Sometimes throwing one of his swords at a clone's head and then later catch it by jumping to where the sword would fall. He even tried to knock out clone by hitting him on his head, if that was even possible. Then suddenly some clones got inspired and threw 3 of them, clones, at the original. Naruto was fighting 2 clones and had just finished killing them when he saw the 3 clones hurled at him. His swords were touching the ground, at the position he had killed his clones. He could not lift up the swords in time to defend himself. Even if he did, at least one of them will hit him and he will fall down, game over. But Naruto had never been someone to give up so easily. He subconsciously passed some chakra into the swords. But before he could even lift them, a big tree root erupted from the ground. Twack, poof, and all that was left was Naruto and his clones staring at the root, dumbstruck. "What the hell?" shouted Naruto and his clones. His remaining clones poofed themselves and Naruto ran away before anybody could see him. Little did he know that a silver-haired cyclops of a ninja was spying on his future student. His lone eye widened when he saw the tree root come out of the ground. After Naruto left, he came down from his hiding place and inspected the tree root. He noticed that it was an unusual root. It was not connected to any tree. A little amount of it was underground so that it's strong and steady on the outside. "Interesting," he whispered, and burned up the root with a small Kaden jutsu. "It is a good thing the Hokage asked me to check up on Naruto. If one of the root were here, it would have surely caused a lot of trouble." After that he returned to watch Naruto from a distance. Naruto now stood outside the cloth store his Gigi suggested. He first thought he would be kicked out of the cloth store again as every other time, but this time it was very different. The slip that his Gigi gave him worked wonders. Once he gave the shopkeeper the slip, the frown on the latter's face vanished in a second, replaced by a very frightened look, then it changed again to a forced smile. Naruto looked at him, confused. "Sir, what's wrong? Is there a problem?" What? "No, there is no problem. None at all," said the shopkeeper shakily. He continued, "My name is Kazu and I will be helping you today for your purchases." Naruto was still confused, but he nodded his head and went with the man to get the clothes. After that everything went smoothly. He selected a black shirt with the familiar red swirl on the back. He could not resist buying the one with orange stripes running along the sides. It even had a hood, which he thought was cool. He bought 2 of them and also 2 black pants. Now standing outside the store wearing his forehead protector on his upper right arm, he thought that they would look rather good on him. He even had his new swords strapped on his back in a criss-cross fashion. Yep, it is definitely good, I can feel it. Meanwhile Kakashi, who was watching him from a tea shop nearby, was thinking along the same lines, quite a good change of clothes. The first time I saw him I thought I would puke seeing that absurd color on a ninja. Then Naruto started off in the direction of Ichiraku's. Kakashi thought that he would be safe there and left from the area. When Naruto neared the ramen stand, he saw Shikamaru standing there with a smile on his face. "I heard you were back, by the way, congratulations on passing the genin test," said Shikamaru with a lazy smile on his face. "I thought I would find you here. You are in Kakashi-sensei's team, right?" "Yeah, that's right," said Naruto with a large smile on his face. "I would never get any answers from him if it goes on like this. I'll better cut the crap and ask him directly," thought Shikamaru, exasperated. He was never the one long chats anyway. "Naruto, I want to ask you something. Where were you the last few days?" Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Why do you care?" If Shikamaru was surprised, he didn't show that on his face. "Well, you were missing and I am a little curious as well." "If that's your reason, I see no reason to tell you," stated Naruto gruffly and walked past him into the ramen stand. Shikamaru shrugged and thought, it was worth a try, I suppose. It cannot be a coincidence that Sasuke and Naruto went missing and returned nearly at the same times. The genius walked away rubbing his head. When Naruto entered the ramen shop, he saw that there was no one at the counter, so he took a seat and shouted, "Is anyone home? I have not eaten ramen for days and I am starved." There was a crash in the back of the shop and then came the sound of running footsteps. "Yo, Naruto, you're back," said old man Ichiraku coming out from the back. He gave him a pat on his shoulder proudly. "I knew you would come back, now that my favorite customer has become a ninja." Naruto was also smiling. It was good to be with the people who really cared about him. Then came a Yame with 2 bowls of miso ramen. "Here is your ramen, Naruto-kun," said a Yame, keeping the 2 bowls on the table. "I know how much you miss our ramen, so eat them first. But after that we will have to talk about some things," finished Ayame sternly, giving Naruto an angry glare. Naruto gulped, but he quietly started eating his ramen. This is going to be a long day. Meanwhile, in the Root underground base, Danzo was in a very bad mood. 2 of the village's most valuable assets were kidnapped 3 days ago under his watch. Even worse, they were returned back without him finding about it. The fact that the only person who saw the people who did this crime was his nemesis did no good to improve his mood. The more he thought about it, the more he suspected Sarutobi of hiding something from him. "Whatever you are hiding from me, you better have good reasons for it," thought Danzo as he sat in his office, browsing through the data he had regarding Naruto and Sasuke, "because if it endangers the village in any way, I will personally put you down." The reasons and the evidence that Hiruzen gave, telling that Naruto was taken by a student of Jiraiya to test him on how he would behave under stress, had convinced the council. "But it will take more than that to fool me, old friend. I would have known if Jiraiya had any new students. But since you refuse to share your reasons with me, I will personally find out the truth from the Jinchuriki itself." With that determined thought, he took his staff and stood up. Then, "Danzo-sama, Lord Hokage has found an entrance to the hideout. He is currently walking towards your office as we speak," shouted Fu, one of his bodyguards. Danzo was surprised. "Is anybody with him?" "No sir." You grew up a spine, I see," chuckled Danzo. "Fu. Torun, stay in the shadows. Do not come out until I say so. The Hokage and I are going to have a friendly chat." Silence followed until Danzo pulled up 2 chairs, keeping them face to face. He was still smiling as he sat down and waited. Then came a knock on the office door. "Hey Danzo, are you there?" Danzo walked up and opened the door and found Sarutobi outside in his normal clothes. "Keeping well, I see. Shall we have a friendly talk? You know, just like the old times." "Yes, we shall," said Danzo, agreeing as they sat down. "We shall, just like the old times." End the Root underground base. "Are you sure you aren't bluffing?" asked Danzo with a serious expression on his face. "Yes Danzo, what I am saying is the truth. I might not have believed like you if Simon had not demonstrated his power. He has complete control over fire, whatever the source. Moreover, his whole body is fireproof. He withstood my fire dragon bullet without even a single burn on his body, replied an equally serious Hiruzen. Currently he was smoking his pipe. When the two were present in room, Danzo had sent away his bodyguards when he realized the importance and secrecy of the matter. Simon is the good one, right? Asked Danzo, to which Hiruzen nodded. Are you saying that his power has no exceptions? Hiruzen was now smiling, still the tenacious one I see. But yes, his power has some limitations and exceptions. The limitation is that he uses up more of his power to control fire from other sources. He cannot use the fire produced by people with uttermost confidence in their abilities. Danzo now had a small smirk on his face. I can work with that. I just have to train my Anbu to be fully confident of their abilities. Sarutobi realized his intentions and said, don't you dare think of confronting him. What I told you is just his natural advantage, even without using that he can defeat all my 3 students without breaking a sweat. So I advise you not to try anything stupid while he is training Naruto. He glared at Danzo for a moment to make his point clear. Danzo held eye contact for some while but then he lowered his gaze in defeat. That much power? I'd better take his advice on this matter until I know better, thought Danzo accessing the situation. If Simon was half as powerful as Sarutobi said, then very thought of even tailing him seemed foolish. If so, then why are you telling me all this? Asked Danzo. I am telling you this because we are friends, said Sarutobi to a now visibly confused Danzo. Even though we have our differences, we have always had the same goal to protect the village to the best of our abilities. I am telling you this as a sign of trust. The same trust that Simon, an outsider, showed me when he told me of his abilities. I want you to recognize our allies and be wary of our new enemies. According to Simon, his adversary is more powerful than him, so he would do well to cooperate. Danzo nodded in understanding, but he needed more intel than that. What is the power of the adversary of his? Ah yes, I forgot to tell you about that. That is the most important part. His power is absolute control over water. Danzo's mouth was now open in shock. He was thinking of the possibilities and dangers that such a power represented. The possibilities were endless. He could even What you are thinking is absolutely right. He could even dehydrate someone. But he too is not invincible. He has the same weakness as on Simon's. He cannot dehydrate someone if their will is strong. Still, he is the one we should be wary of. His sole purpose for coming to our place is to kill Naruto. Danzo was now getting irritated. How does that brat fit into all this? He was the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, yes, but what else was so special about him? Before Danzo could ask his questions, Hiruzen answered, and the reason is that he can use Mokuton. Danzo was now speechless. This was too much to handle. His hands were now shaking, both with excitement and anger. Why wasn't I informed of this before? How can he even use Mokuton? He is not even a Senju for Kami's sake. I know it raises many questions. But if you think about it, none of Hashirama's descendants had Mokuton. I am not even sure that Mokuton is even a bloodline trait, as Hashirama was the only one who had it and now Naruto. But if you look closely you can find many striking similarities in the two, especially their indomitable will and their ever-burning will of fire. Are you out of your mind? How can you base his power on something like that? Think what you may, Danzo, but I am certain of it. Then they continued on how to safeguard the village from the new threats. In the training grounds the next day at 6 a.m., Naruto arrived early for the survival test as his Gigi hadn't mentioned the exact time. He was dressed in his new clothes with the swords across his back. Since he was alone, he thought he would look for the root that popped up from the ground yesterday when he was fighting with his clones. But even though he searched for it several times, he couldn't find the root. Moreover, the grounds looked like no one had trained there for at least a week. "Looking for your recent creation?" said a figure that appeared out of nowhere. Naruto jumped in surprise and looked at him skeptically. The guy looked like a Junin, with a bunch of spiky silver hair. One of his eyes was covered with his headband. The weirdest thing about him was that he somehow seemed to be smiling with his lone eye. "What do you mean? What creation are you talking about?" Naruto asked him, still a bit suspicious. "Oh, Naruto, I am talking about the root you created yesterday while fighting with your clones," the Junin said to Naruto. "The same root that I destroyed so that nobody else could see it." Naruto was a little scared now. This guy knew his secret. His hands slowly moved to his sides to draw his kunai. The Junin's eye looked surprised. Hey, said the Junin holding up his hands, his eye giving a sorry look. I am not here to hurt you, now. I just wanted to see how you were doing, though I would like to talk to you later. Now I was smiling when he saw Naruto relax, that is, if you manage to pass my test. Naruto's eyes widened slowly in realization. You mean you are Kakashi? My new sensei? That is correct. I will see you later, when the others have arrived, and he vanished with a shunshin. After an hour, Naruto was sitting on the ground admiring his swords. The Senju clan emblem carved perfectly onto the hilt. The blade itself had a hidden strength about it. I don't know why, but after the fight with my evil self I have started to notice things. I no longer jump into action the moment something happens, nor have I become a serious person, thought Naruto, still gazing at the swords. For better or for the worse, I have changed. Then came the sound of approaching footsteps from different directions. When he saw his pink-haired crush coming from his right, his heart leapt and he jumped up, throwing aside the swords and running straight up to her. Hey Sakura-chan, how have you been? You are looking very good today. Want to go out on a date with me today evening? Asked Naruto, jumping all the way up to her, all the while giving her his happy grin. Sakura was very irritated. First her sensei told her not to eat anything for breakfast, now her third teammate happened to be the one person she hated. She hit him on his head. Why should I go on a date with you? She screamed. I have my Sasuke-kun. Did you think that wearing new clothes would make me like you? If you did, then you are wrong. I would never betray Sasuke-kun. Do you understand? She said the last sentence while pulling Naruto's ears, emphasizing her point. You could have just answered no, Datbeo, mumbled Naruto, crying comical tears. What was that? Screeched Sakura in Naruto's ears. Nothing at all, said Naruto, rubbing his ears. Meanwhile Sasuke, who had just come up from the other side, noticed the swords lying on the ground. Those look valuable, I should add them to my collection, thought Sasuke while picking them up. Hey, those are my swords, give them back Emo, shouted Naruto when he saw Sasuke pick up his swords. Sasuke gave him his trademark emo smirk. Why should I give them to you? I deserve them more than you being an Uchiha elite. Moreover, if these were yours, then you should have kept them with you, not left them lying around. Naruto was now scowling, he was getting seriously pissed off. Give them back to me or I'll... Smash! Naruto fell head first onto the ground. When he regained his senses and looked up, he saw Sasuke smiling at him victoriously and Sakura screeching at him. Something about, what will you do to my Sasuke-kun? He got onto his feet and looked directly at Sakura. Blood rushed on his face, he was grinding his teeth, controlling his anger. Sakura, said Naruto softly, almost whispering. Then he got close to her and whispered in her ear, I think you are beautiful and all. I meant what I said when I asked you out on a date. But if you do something like that again... Sakura felt a chill run up her spine, she could feel his anger and resentment. It shook up her whole being, she, for the first time in her life, felt mortally petrified. Oh okay, Naruto. I won't do it again, she said weakly. Then we are good, said Naruto in the same serious tone. Then he looked at Sasuke, I won't repeat, give me back my swords. Sasuke first thought he would fight him with his new skills. But when he saw the look on Naruto's face, he knew that if he didn't return the swords now, he would later regret it. So against his better judgment he mumbled something about, I don't want the Dobi's trash anyway, and passed on the swords to Naruto. Then they all waited for their sensei to appear. 2 hours later, Hiya students, good morning, said a cheerful Kakashi who appeared via Shunshin. You are late, screeched a very angry Sakura, while both Naruto and Sasuke scowled. Quiet down, we all do not have hearing problems and I do not want any in the future, said Kakashi irritably. Well, as for being late, a cat crossed my path and I had to take the long way to get here. Liar, screeched Sakura again, while both Naruto and Sasuke palm-faced. Whatever. Now, before your survival test, I would like an introduction from you, Naruto, said a smiling Kakashi, looking at Naruto encouragingly. Why should I? Asked Naruto the same way he had asked Shikamaru the last day. Because, I am your sensei, said Kakashi in stern tone. Naruto narrowed his eyes, then he smiled, I will show him not to mess with me. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I like ramen and going to the Ichirakus. My ambition is to be the Hokage, the best there is, so that I could protect the village and those who live in it. Huh? He wants to protect the villagers? Even after all that they have done to him? Kakashi thought he'd better voice his thoughts. Why do you want to protect the village and the villagers? Naruto smiled mischievously. Isn't that the Hokage's job? Kakashi lost his composure. He, the great Kakashi, beaten at his own game? Ridiculous. Unacceptable. Sakura was shocked. When did Naruto become a smart ass? Sasuke was stunned. He thought it was part of the test and started shouting, Kai. Kai. At that time Mike Guy suddenly got an inspiration and decided to give a treat for his student. After Kakashi collected his marbles, he gave Naruto a look that promised a lot of pain. Then he took a timer from his pocket and placed it on a wooden post. The timer is set for 12 p.m. Your objective is to take these bells from me, said Kakashi holding out 2 bells. As you can see, there are only 2 bells. He then looked at Naruto and smirked. That means one of you will fail. At that, Naruto also smirked and came towards Kakashi, drawing his swords. But the others jumped into the woods nearby. Yes, now I will show you who is boss, thought Kakashi, still smirking. He quickly engaged Naruto as a little taijutsu. First ninja technique taijutsu, shouted Kakashi. Then he quickly came behind Naruto making a seal and said, but the most basic ninja ability is deception, which you happen to lack. Baka, thought both Sasuke and Sakura from their respective hiding places. Now you are screwed. This is what you get for messing with a Junin. 1,000 years of death. Whatever Kakashi expected by poking Naruto in the butt, he never expected him to go poof. A cage bunshin? Thought Kakashi in shock. In the next moment, bomb, and the great Kakashi fell on his face, hit by a rock on the head. He recovered instantaneously, but he was now seriously pissed off. Then he saw a glint of a kunai from a patch of bushes in the forest. He took off in that direction with a murderous look on his face, if that is even possible. Ready or not, here I come. Whoever you are, you won't escape my wrath, he shouted maliciously. Meanwhile in the bushes, shit, now I am screwed, thought Sasuke, mentally cursing Naruto. I have to use that jutsu. He came out of the bushes even before Kakashi reached him. Then he made hand seals at very high speed and shouted, Fire style. Fireball jutsu. What? Thought Kakashi in shock. Then a huge fireball closed on him. After the fireball impacted, Sasuke saw no trace of Kakashi. Huh? And then, Earth style. Headhunter jutsu. The next second his whole body went underground with just his head sticking out. In front of him stood Kakashi, his right sleeve still burning. Sasuke smirked. Aha, I got you. Shut up, kid, shouted Kakashi and smacked him on his head. Now tell me, where is Naruto? How should I know? Shouted Sasuke back. I'd better find him myself, thought Kakashi, sighing. Then he left to find Naruto and Sakura. Thrice. I was fooled 3 times today, and worse by 2 genins. Kakashi was disgusted with himself. I underestimated them, he thought with determination. I won't make that mistake with the 3rd one. He then found Sakura hiding behind a tree. Kakashi saw her and smirked evilly. Now I got you. After a few minutes, Kakashi was seen frantically using small water jutsus to wake up Sakura. The latter was unconscious, with froth coming out from her mouth. A drastically changed Naruto, and the vision of seeing her Sasuke-kun being cut into pieces by a monster was too much for her rational brain to handle, so the only thing it could do, it shut down. 3.5 hours later, a tired-looking Kakashi and Sasuke were sitting with a very happy-looking Naruto and a crying Sakura. After 3 hours of continuously searching for Naruto, he gave up, dead tired, fighting nearly 1,000 clones of Naruto. So he called everyone back near the timer. Sasuke had to dig himself up to get back. His bones were aching all over. Though none of you got the bells, I will give you one more chance after the lunch. Naruto and Sasuke may eat the lunch, but you are not to give any food to Sakura, nor is she allowed to help herself to any. If any of these happen, you all will be disqualified, said Kakashi and vanished with a shunshin. Sasuke hungrily helped himself to the food, but Naruto was having second thoughts. Even though he had changed, he was still the kind old Naruto in his heart. When he saw the bags under Sakura's eyes, he made his decision. Here, Sakura-chan, he said, holding up a rice ball at her. Have a rice ball. Sasuke coughed with the food in his mouth. Sakura looked at Naruto tearfully. Are you nuts? If you give her food, all of us will fail. This way at least both of us will pass, shouted Sasuke at Naruto. Sasuke, look at her, she need the food more than you and me. Besides we have a better chance of defeating him with her to support us. Sasuke looked unsure, then he nodded and offered Sakura the rest of his food. You are right, said Sasuke reluctantly, besides I don't sense Kakashi-sensei nearby. Sakura looked at both of them gratefully and muttered a, thank you. She then moved to take the food. At that moment, the sky darkened and lightning struck. Kakashi appeared in front of them with a very ghostly look. You disobeyed my orders, said Kakashi angrily, are you ready to accept your fate? You all the three were terrified, they were holding their breaths. Well, that went well, thought Naruto about the survival exam as he stared out of the window, looking at the stars and the moon as they watched over the village. He was thinking about how he even managed to pass the exams. He wondered whether he would have made it if not for Simon and his training. He sighed and decided to get into bed. But as he was going towards it, the bag containing the scrolls for Simon caught his eye. The Hokage had mentioned they were for Simon, but his tone had not suggested Naruto should not look into it. I guess there is no harm in browsing through the topics mentioned, thought Naruto, the librarian never allowed me to study anyways. I guess there is no harm done even if I look through the contents. His curiosity was rising by every tick of his wall clock. Finally it got the better of him, he took bag and settled upon his bed. He carefully took out the contents of the bag and placed them on the bed. There were 3 separate packages. The first one had the kanji of jutsu on its label and the second one was named chakra. But it was the third one that caught his attention. Mokuton, I better check this first. It might give me some clues on what these powers of mine are all about, thought Naruto as he started to unpack the third one. To his surprise, that package contained 3 other packages. 2 were the same as before chakra and jutsu, but the last one was labeled Memoirs of the First Hokage. A detailed history of the wood element. Seeing that this was the one he was looking for, he opened it up. It contained a stack of papers, so Naruto took the first one and began reading. My name is Hashirama Senju. I really don't have the habit of writing a diary, so please forgive me, I sometimes seem weird. Well, the main reason for me to write this diary, or whatever you call it, is the recent discovery of my powers, a certain chakra ability which I call Mokuton. I am writing this solely for the sake of those who might possess similar abilities. That's it with the introductions. I will now tell you my story. To talk about me is to talk about my clan, the Senju. For those of you who don't know what the Senju or a clan is, I will give you a detailed description. The Senju clan of the forest is one of the many warrior clans that roam around the world. I don't know much about the other clans, but my clan is composed of many of my relatives, don't get me wrong, there are hundreds of them. Well, we all live very happily, that is, only amongst ourselves. You see, all the clans are constantly fighting amongst themselves. There has been more clan wars in the world than the births in our clan. In the world I live, that is the way of life. But luckily for me and my family, we are one of the most powerful among hundreds of these clans, the Senju. The Uchiha and the Senju, the most powerful clans in the world. Our clans are the ultimate rivals, either you are against one of us or with one of us. My clansmen have immense physical strength and incredible chakra. Our chakra pools are almost 5 times of a normal shinobi and more than twice of the elite Uchiha. Our bodies have the physical resilience to withstand attacks that would kill any normal shinobi, that coupled with our almost limitless stamina made us one of the most powerful clans in the world. Now that you get an idea of what a Senju is, I will tell you about how I discovered my ability. I am 13 years old now. The incident happened a week ago. We were at war with the Uchihas and I and my brothers were scouting a part of a forest for possible Uchiha bases. My father, Batsuma Senju, is very influential in the clan politics, and as his sons we are allowed missions that are usually not given to children. Anyways, we the 4 brothers constituted a very good team. I, the eldest, am skilled in kenjutsu and powerful elemental jutsus. My younger brothers Itama and Kawurama fought like one, covering each other's weaknesses, and the last of all, Tobirama is the brain of our team, a censor and a tactician whose likes of which has never been seen in our clan. Together we were unbeatable, our clan knew that, and that's why we were chosen for that mission. We were scouting a region near a river when Tobi sensed a huge spike in chakra coming from all sides. I, being the leader of the team, ordered everyone to stand in a circle to cover our blind spots. If it were the Uchiha, we had to be extra careful. Their eyes have special vision, they are able to see things that are invisible to the normal eye. Also, being able to predict movements and copy jutsus made them our equals and the most formidable enemies. It seemed that I was right. After about half a minute 12 Uchihas jumped out of the bushes. There was no doubt, no one else had those emo grins. Naruto fell down to the ground laughing, and exclaimed, "That's it. Sasuke's grin is a genetic disorder. Ha ha ha." Well, we were in a tough situation. It was 12 adults versus 4 children. The odds were bad no matter how we looked at it, but for me it did not matter much, as I would fight them with my brothers than a whole army of Senju. That was because nobody messes with my brothers but me. So we showed them what a Senju is. I and Toby took half of them, all with 3 Tomo Sharingan, while Itama and Kawurama took the rest, of which 3 had Sharingan. We fought head and tooth that day. I was always against killing, but that day we had no choice. I drew my swords while Toby drew his. The Uchihas were skilled, but we were better. The first one I fought that day thought that I would be caught in a wide-range fire jutsu, but I knew better than to block it. I just disappeared underground with my earth manipulation skills and got him from the back with an earth dragon. But as I said, he was skilled. He broke up the earth dragon with a lightning pulse. He then tried to follow up with a fire-lightning combo attack with one of his friends. That didn't go well for him as the explosive tags I put on the earth dragon blew up on the back of his head and the jutsu backfired on his friend. In that confusion, I had already made an earth clone and slipped out of their sights. By others I mean the Uchihas. I couldn't hide from Toby even if I wanted to, he was too good for that. Speaking of Toby, while I killed the 2, he also had killed 2 by putting a kunai through one's head and putting his blade through another, whose result was he was without time and a weapon in hand when the other Uchiha sent a fire jutsu at him. As soon as I saw it, I jumped out of my hiding place and ran towards him, making the hand seals for a water jutsu. The situation was bad. My jutsu won't reach in time to stop the fire jutsu, as the flames will be very hot by then. It was a moment of indecision that paved the way for my first Mokuton jutsu. I tried to do a earth jutsu to erect a mud wall that I somehow combined the elements when I made the snake seal. A tree sprouted in front of Tobirama in a second and saved him. For a moment everyone stopped fighting, even the other Uchiha and all my other brothers who saw this. The Uchiha knew it was not a genjutsu, so their leader shouted, "Kirai! Escape from here," and the clan head what happened. That was before Itama cut off his head, but the said Kirai had already escaped. We then took the rest prisoner when they surrendered and we made our way back home. But on the way back Toby asked me quietly, "Hey brother, I don't know what Itama and Kawurama saw. But I know what I saw, so tell me one thing, did you create a freaking tree?" I replied, "Don't know Toby." Then I smiled, but it seems that something made the Uchiha shit in their pants. Toby and my other brothers laughed and patted me on the back, and then we walked back our way home feeling that from today things will be taking a new turn. Naruto was holding the paper in his hands for a full minute after he had finished reading. He had just one thought in his mind: these Senju guys are awesome. He then looked at his clock. 2 a.m. 2 men in cloaks with red clouds on it were walking on a lonely road. The taller one looked more than a fish than a man, with a giant bandaged sword swung across his shoulder, a wild look on his face. The shorter one walked with a grace only seen in seasoned warriors, the most experienced assassins. He was the image of a walking authority. One may think that no such 2 people could become comrades, even allies. But the fact remains that they are, brought together by the sole purpose of capturing all the legendary tailed beasts. "Hey Itachi," called out the blue fish face, "isn't it time yet to capture the Biju? I am shit bored of killing weaklings to get money. Don't get me wrong, I like money, but this is damn boring." The said Itachi took a moment to regard his companion's question. "You are right Kisame, we are not doing anything worth the time. Let's do a quick check on our precious Jinchuriku, nothing much, just see how fast they are progressing and to analyze their abilities." Kisame gave a wide smile, his shark canines protruding. "Well Itachi, that's a first. I have never seen you agreeing that fast to anything I say. If I didn't know you well I would say that you are losing your touch." "Well, you know me well enough not to ask that," said Itachi. "You go after Yanbi, shadow him, document his abilities. Meanwhile I will check on the Kyuubi." "Huh?" said Kisame surprised. "I don't think going there alone is a good idea." I will be simply observing, said Itachi softly. Besides, I have some personal business to take care of. Very well then, Itachi, said Kisame, taking off to a different direction, as you wish. As soon as Kisame left, black crows started coming out of Itachi's body until there was nothing left. At the same time, the real Itachi walked into Ichiraku's ramen stand, smiling as he realized that his escape plan had worked perfectly. Konoha was slowly waking up as the sun came up from behind the Hokage monument. Everyone was happy, finally they were going to spend a day with their families. Oops. Sorry, not everyone, you bastard, screamed a terrified Naruto. He was currently hanging off a cliff clinging onto a very thin rope. He couldn't believe that he fell for such a lame trick. He should have ran away when he saw Simon taking him to the cliff with the rope. It's just as a precaution, he had said. The next moment he threw him off the cliff, throwing him one end of the rope. Hey, Naruto, I advise you to do something very soon. The rope will not hold on for much longer. It has already been a minute, shouted Simon at Naruto in a causal tone. What the hell are you doing? I thought you didn't want to kill me? I won't be so sure, replied Simon in a funny tone. Hey, this isn't funny, pull me up. Now Naruto was desperately looking at his options out of this mess. I am not joking, I can't pull you up. If I do, the rope will break. If I try something else, your ass will touch down before I could be of any help. So stop whining and try something to save yourself. Well shit, thought Naruto. Well, I'd better try out my new power, better late than never. He reached out his hand at the surface of the cliff and channeled some of his chakra into it. Feeling the life in the roots of a tree hidden from his view, he felt oddly at peace. He reached out to it and willed it to help him. As if reading his mind, some roots sprouted out of the cliff just below him in a criss-cross pattern. More the chakra he channeled, the more it grew. Soon it grew as large as the bed in his apartment. Wow, thought Naruto as he let himself go. This is nice. I feel as if I am something bigger. Well, that worked very nicely, didn't it? I knew it would, said a voice behind Naruto. Naruto very slowly turned around, keeping his balance on the wooden platform. He saw Simon standing behind him, in flight. Hey, how can you fly? Wait, if you were here, then who was holding me a moment before? Then he looked up and saw another Simon waving at him from top of the cliff. What can I say? I picked up your little trick, said Simon cheekily. Naruto got a sudden urge to throw himself down the cliff, just to tear that shit-eating grin off his face. Okay, here is what we will do for today. First, we have to improve your primary elements to their very best, then we will focus on the wood element. This actually serves two purposes. If your Suiden, Doden and the Futon elements are perfected, it will be easy for you to use your Mokuton. Also, as of now, you won't need to use Ukeke Genkai and it will hence remain a secret. Simon was lecturing Naruto while Naruto and his clones were trying to climb trees using feet only. Yeah? Why am I doing this instead of learning some elemental jutsu? Oh, that is to improve your chakra control. You see, the basic requirement for everything I mentioned is something that you don't have. Naruto took a moment to process this. Hey. Thump, 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 thump. Sorry, it's actually two things, chakra control and concentration, said Simon, sighing. So now that you have got a basic idea about how I teach, and that you have done some of the basic exercises, blah blah blah, let's get on with the fun stuff. Which element do you want to learn? Naruto was lying on the ground, dead tired, hat? Now you want to teach? I think I. And with that he closed his eyes and fell asleep. Simon started chuckling. Itachi. Come out of hiding, I know you are here. Why don't you disable your invisibility jutsu and come out from behind that tree? Itachi slowly raised an eyebrow. Clearly this guy held many secrets. As far as he could see with his Sharingan, even though the child guy would ever had a very large chakra reserve, his chakra pathways show little to no usage. Even to see that was quite some strain in itself. Even with the lack of chakra in his outer system, he managed to detect me. He know who I am too. For that I will play this game of his. So, you are here to see who has been disrupting Akatsuki's plans, am I right? Questioned Simon, to which Itachi came out from behind the tree and nodded. Well, you can cut the crap as both of us know why exactly you are here. In that case, shall we take off from here and have a friendly spar? Said Simon with his hands bursting into flames. Itachi smiled slightly and with another nod followed Simon's lead. Simon was having so much fun. It had been quite some time since he had faced such a good short-range fighter. Simon was fighting with just his fists while Itachi was using his chakra blades laced with fire chakra. Neither of them had scored a hit until now. Well, if they had, then the spar would have ended long before. As for Itachi, it was an opportunity to practice his taijutsu. Certainly this guy is excellent hand-to-hand combat skills. Whoosh! Itachi saw the kick from the corner of his eye and dodged just in time to avoid the kick, but not what came with it. He fell on his back with part of his cloak on flame. Itachi retreated, put out the fire and activated his Sharingan. Well, even I have a few tricks of my own. Let us proceed to round 2. Simon saw the determined look on Itachi's face and his activated Sharingan. I was wondering when he would do that. Meanwhile with Naruto. Naruto had just woken up. He was scratching his head. Think of why he was on the ground. That is when he noticed a sapling on the ground, and once again tree leaves shall bud anew. The words of the Sandaime now made sense to him. It cleared his mind of all his doubts and filled it one emotion, compassion. He gently touched a leaf of the sapling and closed his eyes and whispered, "Bud anew and become powerful so that you can protect those precious to you." And he passed it some of his power. He let it grow and in a few moments opened his eyes and grinned when he saw himself standing in front of him. Why am I not surprised? That's all for now. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments.